Borkheri to Keli. We were trudging along a high mountain trail, listening to the subtle ripples of the Narmada flowing below. As we went on, the mountains were closing in more and more upon the river. Mountain after mountain, ridge after ridge, and between the closely packed mountains, the twisting, turning, slender Narmada, now a wilderness river, her beauty at once raw and serene, makes her way. The landscape becomes increasingly arid and lonely. This is Sulpanjhari, where nature has gathered a bouquet of hills to greet the Narmada. But the word jhari, thicket, is altogether misleading. This 100-kilometer long stretch of the Narmada at the meeting place of three states, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat, is called Sulpanjhari. Thicket? What thicket? Not a single tree to shade your head from the sun. There are only mountains here, a sown, bare, barren, uninhabited expanse of hills. This is the most dangerous region of the Narmada Parikrama. Not one pilgrim can get through without being robbed. For fear of the hills, most pilgrims avoid this area. Many go through it in the winter. In hot weather, the sunburnt rocks are pure agony for bare feet. Thirst is another torture. But here we were in the scorching heat of midsummer, blasted by the hot wind, drenched in sweat. As we came round a bend and emerged from behind a mountain, vigilant Borkheri said, "Look over there." In the distance we saw 7 or 8 loincloth-clad bhils jumping and leaping across the Narmada's narrow current. If we were not travelling with you, they would steal all our belongings and strip you as naked as they are. They even take away glasses. If you resist, they beat you up. If they think their victim is likely to make a report to the police, they kill him and dump the body. Sisodiya said, "We are in Khargaon district. Dhar district is opposite across the Narmada. To be a bhil means to live in the hills and love the hills. The bhil's territory of terror is from Borkheri to Jalakand Sangam. In the 100-kilometer long Jhari, robberies occur only in this stretch of 25 or 30 kilometers. By now the bhils had come over from the far bank to this side. Seeing us from afar, they must have been very happy. But as they came nearer, they must have seen the policemen, for they all vanished in the twinkling of an eye, as if the earth had swallowed them. They must have been hiding in the caverns, grinding their teeth after seeing all our bags and luggage going safely with us. How frustrating it must have been for them to watch us go past. We reached Tuarakhera, a tiny hamlet of half a dozen scattered huts, in the early afternoon and stayed at the headman's house. Borkheri knew the headman. After meeting him, Borkheri came to me and asked hesitantly, "Will chicken do?" They want to kill a chicken in our honor. If we refuse, they will be offended. Welcomed with chicken instead of the customary sweets. There were flocks of hens around the bhil houses. I don't eat meat, but you all eat and enjoy it. Samlal cooked dal. The headman's wife made excellent millet chapatis. I didn't miss sweets at all. We were sitting after lunch when I noticed a woman lying outside in the shade on a string bed. Noticing us, she sat up and began staring at us anxiously. Her beauty stunned me. I couldn't take my eyes off her face. She was dark but very lovely, her face so finely chiseled that I had never seen anything like it. Big black eyes lighted up her face. The Creator must have just sat contemplating her with supreme satisfaction. Suddenly, a song by Rabindranath Tagore came to mind. Darkling I call her, village people call her black. Black? No matter how black she is. I have seen her doe black eyes. I had heard this song many times at Santiniketan. How was I to know then that I would meet her in Sulpanjari? She was about 8 months pregnant and glowed the way women carrying new life do. Bliss had mingled with beauty. I made a few sketches, but they did not do justice to her. I showed her the one I thought was the best of the lot, and she smiled, an enigmatic, elusive, beguiling smile. Two young men with just the first hint of a moustache came up to where we were sitting. They looked like princes in their colorful turbans. Males are very good looking, both men and women. We did not usually walk in the middle of the day, but today we would. The faster we got through this perilous area, the better. We walked through valleys and over the mountains, and reached Kotbandhani just before sundown. We had walked all day in the parching sun and were dead tired. A bath would be refreshing. In the darkness, the Narmada looked abstract, fearsome, and mysterious. The faint sheen of moonlight made the surrounding mountains appear even darker. I bathed in the silent Narmada, enveloped in the black night. We left in the morning. Watching the rhythmic curves of the maidenly Narmada, we were soon at Jhalakhan Sangam. Madhya Pradesh ended on this side of the stream. Maharashtra began on the other. The policemen would go back from here. There was a headman's house at the confluence. The headman's wife brought us roasted groundnuts. She had several children. Her body had lost its shape. Her belly sagged a little, but how lovely her face was. The headman too was very dashing. Both their faces glowed with health and vigor. They had a daughter of about 13, a replica of her parents. "Sit down, beta," I said to her, "and I will draw a picture of you." The little girl's face radiated happiness. The beaming mother gazed at her giggling daughter with affection, appreciation, and pride. "She's shy," she explained, overjoyed. I was very touched by the girl's spontaneous shyness. At her mother's insistence, she sat for me, drawing her shawl over her head. Alas, I could only capture a fraction of this bashful girl's beauty in my sketch. The sketch was not good, but it is still very dear to me. It reminds me of a carefree girl, such as any father would be proud of. After bathing in the confluence, we bathed in the tiny Jhalakhan as well. We bathed in Maharashtra and dried ourselves with towels in Madhya Pradesh. Borkheri and Sisodia had assured us before they left. Ahead, there's no need to be afraid. Go on fearlessly. Be sure to write us a letter when you get home. We will be curious to know how the rest of your trip went. Now we were walking through Maharashtra. As we went along, an idea came into my head. What if the wheels we saw yesterday got to know that the police had gone? they might decide to come after us and rob our belongings. Then I scolded myself. What a coward you are! It was agony to walk after midday. The ground was burning. There was not a single tree. The sun blazed overhead. It felt like we were being roasted over a slow fire. The river flowed on, more curving and curling, more twisting and turning than ever. Between the mountains, I marveled at how the Narmada mischievously sidesteps obstacles and somehow or the other weaves her way, trickling between the rocks with a light, caressing touch. We do not understand the language of the people. It is not Marathi, the state language, but dialect of Marathi. This part of Maharashtra is called Khandes and the district is Dhulia. The Narmada picked her way through the labyrinth of mountains and we picked ours through the trammels of the rocks. After about 2 hours, we saw a signboard by the riverside. On it was written in Hindi, Sadabrat is given to pilgrims here. We were very glad to see the sign in this lonely place. A nearby path led upwards until a village came in sight. The village was called Nimgaon. The man who gave provisions had gone out, but his disciple was there. He welcomed us enthusiastically and insisted on our staying, but we were in a hurry. So, after sitting a while, we collected our belongings and started to leave when he said, "You are on the parikrama of the mother. I would like to touch your feet in full prostration, in accordance with Maharashtrian custom." I was overjoyed. No one had shown me so much respect before. He was younger than my youngest son. He could certainly touch my feet. But instead of touching my feet, the young boy remained rooted to the spot, staring at me wide-eyed. What was he waiting for? When I stupidly failed to understand, he shyly requested, "Please take off your sandals for a minute." I wished the earth would split and swallow me. I took off my sandals and he stretched out full length on the ground. We reached Pendra in the furnace heat of noon. Hapeswar temple could be seen on the opposite bank. A group of Bhil women came along, carrying sheaves of grass on their heads. The women wanted to go over to the other side. A small boat was moored on the other side of the slender Narmada. One woman swam across for the boat, and in 3 or 4 trips all were on the other side. They bathed and swam for a long time, then went on their way, laughing and chatting. There were hills in various shades of brown everywhere, no other colors. The women broke this monotony. They looked like many-colored flowers in their bright clothes. The sunshine was thick and creamy, the heat oppressive. We walked on a higher path, intending to reach Pipal Chopani by evening, but the path came to an abrupt end after some time. A ramp ran down into the Narmada on our right and a steep ravine in front. We could not go down to the riverside or descend into the ravine. On the far side of the ravine, a few huts could be seen. Had it not been for the ravine, we could have reached them in half an hour. There was nothing we could do but retrace our steps. After a long detour, we managed to cross the ravine. Hills reared up, one behind the other. We reached the huts with great difficulty, each perched on a separate hillock. This mountain hamlet was called Keli. Seeing the almost naked men and women here. It seemed as if we had stepped into a prime village. We had left the trappings of civilization behind us. Rain clouds were gathering in the sky. We were also dead tired. So we gave up the idea of reaching Pipal Chopani and stayed overnight in Keli. It was already daylight when we awoke. I said to our host, "If you will guide us on our way, I will pay you for it." Pipal Chopani is not a good village. The people there are dangerous. They are murderers, he said in his broken speech. He drew his finger across his throat to emphasize his point. The situation was grave. We had entered into the most dangerous area of the Narmada Parikrama, and there was no going back. With deep apprehension, we set out alone in that dangerous, terrifying stillness. "Mother Narmada, if anything untoward happens to me, please bid adieu to my wife."